Hey guys, my name's Adam, and today we're covering a very popular Vancouver topic and an also very controversial one for whatever reason, which is the weather. This video is sponsored by me actually. As some of you guys know, I've been creating some Vancouver guides to help people move to Vancouver, a student guide, a family's guide, and a single/couples guide, and I'm happy to announce that they are now available on my website, so I'll leave a link at the top of the description to my website where you can find more information on the guides there. So many people just know that it rains a lot in Vancouver, but in this video we're going to take a look at the whole year and talk about what you can expect throughout it as far as weather goes. Before we get into that, let me tell you guys the number one reason that I actually live in Vancouver, and that reason is the weather. Even though it rains a lot, it's pretty rare that we get below 0 degrees Celsius. It might happen a couple days of the year, but I am not one for the cold, so that's why I live here. And that's important to know if you're going to move to Canada, because there are some places that, you're going to get negative 30 or even higher. And living expenses are high, rent is crazy, car insurance can be a joke, and it rains a lot, but you will rarely experience weather below 0 degrees Celsius. So that's enough for me to say, you know what, that's cool. I can deal with the rest. Now, just because it doesn't get that cold here doesn't mean it never snows. The last 2 years we actually have had some snow, but more often than not, it usually just rains. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I'll put two photos up on the screen right now that shows my street, one time halfway through the year and the other time is in December of 2019. Like I said, even though it's not that common, it's certainly something to be aware of if you are moving here. And the times where it does snow, it usually only sticks around on the ground for like a day or two before the weather melts it away or like the rain comes and washes it away. And speaking on how much it does rain, you've probably heard people say, oh, it can rain for months straight, and it's true. We have months where sometimes it rains for 30, maybe even 60 days straight where we don't see the sun. And the days where it doesn't rain, we probably still don't see the sun because it's super gray. Personally, I'd say we get a month out of the year where we just don't see the sun, and I know the gray and rainy times have a different effect on everybody. I'm gonna throw up a graph on the screen right here so you guys can see like how many days of each month it usually rains, and this is pretty accurate because usually the weather is pretty predictable. My last note on the rain is that when it does rain here, I would never define it as a storm. The weather is never that bad here where you can't go outside or it becomes like anywhere near dangerous. You can pretty much always still go out when it's raining. It might just not be that fun. So let me give you guys a yearly breakdown of what you can expect each month. Even though the weather changes like slightly every year, it usually follows the same pattern. So starting in January and February, usually those are both rainy months where we might see some snow. Next is March, April, and May, sharing similar weather, which is rain/sun/clouds. June is a mix of sun and clouds, and July and August are mostly sunny. September is more sun, but also with a mix of clouds, and October and November are a mix of sun, clouds, and rain. And finally, December is more rain and clouds with potentially some snow. So you can pause the video here to take a look at the months if you'd like, or even take a screenshot. I couldn't find anything this specific with like what weather you can expect each month, so I made this one myself. If you're someone who's from a place that's always warm or hot, there's probably days that you come across where you don't even want to go outside even for a walk. It's really rare in Vancouver that the weather is so extreme that you just like can't or like don't want to go outside at all. Sometimes the rain, but the heat will never be so bad that you just don't want to go outside. You can pretty much always go for a walk, and it's not common to go above 30 degrees Celsius. Those are like super hot days for Vancouver. So most likely at this point we understand that Vancouver's weather is like quite neutral. It never gets too hot, there's not an insane amount of snow ever, and it's never too cold. Well, like it's never really cold. And what that neutral weather means for us is not just like how warm or cold it is, but also it gives us a wide variety of activities for the summer and winter. Obviously in warmer places you have stuff like, biking or just being outdoors, going to the beach or surfing. But if you wanted to build a snowman or go skiing, you would have to trek pretty far to get to that climate where you can ski. And same goes for where it's super cold. If you wanted to go get a suntan on the beach, you're gonna have to go pretty far for that as well. And this is another one of the largest reasons Vancouver is such a sought after place to live, because not so far from here, about an hour and a half, we have Whistler, where there's a bunch of ski mountains, which is actually where I grew up, so I can recommend it. One of the best ski resorts in Canada and also the largest. And for the summer in Vancouver, you can do all the activities you'd associate with warm weather, going to the beach and stuff like that. Another good thing about the neutral weather is not only that you get to pass up on the extreme heat or extreme cold like other places, but you also get to pass up on some of the extreme things that come with those temperatures, namely shoveling the snow off your car, or even the ice off your windshield, or even having to shovel the whole driveway. That was one of the things that I disliked the most about where I used to live, having to get up extra early just to shovel out my car. Living somewhere previously that had a lot of snow made me feel like I needed to escape and get away from like the extra work and pain that the extreme weather causes. And I can say after living in Vancouver for almost 3 years now, I've never had to like escape or get away from the weather. Obviously vacations are nice once in a while, but I wouldn't use the term escape. If you are moving to Vancouver, you most likely know you're moving into a rainforest, which is why I say to people that the rain isn't as bad as you would think it is. It almost seems like a trend nowadays for, the people of Vancouver to like hate on or complain about the weather or the rain, which is kind of funny because we all know it's a rainforest. And in one of my recent videos when I said the rain isn't as bad as you'd think, a lot of people were saying, are you kidding? It rains so much and there's so many gray days in a row. So what I can say about the rain here is it does rain a lot, and if rain is something that makes you super sad or you just hate the rain, then there will be days that you won't be super happy. But if you're someone like me who doesn't really mind the rain and actually enjoys it once in a while, I wouldn't say the weather in Vancouver is something you have to worry about. But even on that note, there'll be different opinions about the rain, so if you live in Vancouver currently, or if you've ever lived here, tell us what you think of the rain and how bad it is for you. I shared some opinions about the weather and also the facts and the numbers, so by the end of this video, you should have a good idea if Vancouver is for you or not, basing it off the weather. Since I live in Vancouver currently, let me tell you what I would change if I could change the weather just slightly, so you have an idea of like what kind of annoys me or annoys people here. Number one, I wish our summers were a bit longer. Sometimes we only have, the sun and summer for 2 to 4 months if I'm stretching it, somewhere around there. So it'd be nice to have a little bit more of the sun throughout the whole year. And for someone who lives for outdoor like sports and activities, that's a big one for me. My second change would be upping the average temperature throughout the year, maybe like a couple degrees, 4 degrees. And that's just because it gets cold sometimes in the winter, like a little bit too cold for me, but I mean, I'm just a complainer, maybe people say, but yeah, sometimes it gets a little bit cold, and that would actually get rid of the snow that we get once in a while. And the final change I would make is, you guessed it, a little less rain. Like I said, the rain isn't that bad for me personally, but there are days, there are months where, we're gonna go without sun and non-stop rain for 30 days. It's rare, but it can happen. And going that long without the sun affects everybody eventually. As I mentioned, the weather is quite similar each and every year, so it's kind of easier to make this video, and obviously some things will change, but the same months will get the rain or the snow, and the same months in the summer will be warm, of course. If you're moving to Vancouver soon and you're looking to learn more about it, you can always check out my guides, my moving to Vancouver guides, linked at the top of the description on my website. And if you guys don't follow me on Instagram yet, you can check that link out in the description as well. I post a lot of stuff about Vancouver and photos, and I also try to answer all my DMs. So if you enjoyed this video or it helped you at all, make sure to leave it a like, and I will see you guys next week.